these several individuals into custody, and we're waiting to hear. I only have one of my sons is still not out, and I'm waiting to hear. My other son was injured really badly. They smashed his finger and his ring, smashed his wedding ring on his hand, and then left him in a cell, freezing cold like they do. This is a tactic they've used over and over again, and I'm worried about my other son, that he's sitting there in this cold cell as well. And so I want the message to go out to Free Philo, because I need my son home. So I don't know if there's any more questions that you might have about the processes that took place.
I'm pretty sure that's something else.
Did it? And so right now we have a question in the U.S. Supreme Court right now because of the jurisdictional issue that we filed our federal court claim on November 5th, 2018, and then Urban Housing Development filed a FED, forcible eviction action against us on November 19th, 2 weeks later. And the reason they did that was because the court clerks in the federal courthouse intentionally lost the green card that proved our service to Urban Housing Development. They thought that court trick would be the one to get us out, and they made the mistake of filing an FED eviction. When you're talking foreclosure, if they need to eject somebody from the house, they need to do an action called ejectment, not a forcible eviction. They have stolen all the family's homes from this neighborhood for the past 20 years, and I'm a first-hand witness. I was also a committee member on the Interstate Urban Renewal Committee. So I sat on that committee, volunteered my time, more than thousands and thousands of hours, to tell this city and the state and the county not to do this action to my people. And they did it anyway. And then they did it to me. Every trick that they used to displace the people from this neighborhood, they used on my family. Starting from the Bureau buildings coming in and citing me for just my gutters being down. And then shingles, little shingles, wood shingles off my home. Then we have them coming in and arresting our kids and any other family member. All my kids have been targeted by the corporate police and been detained either one way or another for very small offenses. And so those are all tactics. That's what they used when I got into the loan in the first place, because my son was in an automobile accident that led me to the predatory loan that they were putting in our neighborhood. So that's kind of in a nutshell, what they've done. But there's way more corruption on how they stole people's homes. I also got cited for just having a trailer in my backyard that you couldn't even see because my fence blocked it. But they use this, anonymous callers, neighbors call in on you, and those are the tactics that they use. And you can look it up. I got fines all over on my customer name, because that's what the tactics that they use to displace the people. So these banks, they're not even banks that own it. The people that came in and foreclosed are attorney law offices, and they got a network working together. The law office that came in on us is Aldrich Pitt Law Office, and they, U.S. Bank National Association was the final bank that came in on the foreclosure, and they assigned the trust a sub-trustee, which is Clear Recon Corporation. Well, Clear Recon Corporation, the president of Clear Recon is Steve Pitt of Aldrich Pitt Law Firm. They got law firms in every state in the country to foreclose on most of the people of color, because it's the states that is the high populated of people of color. And they've been doing these tactics for the last 20 years, like I said, and that's why we got these hundreds of camps out here, and that's the media attention I want to get, as well as the corruption in the court system. The judges and the clerks had to use deceitful tactics to remove us from our home. And so, like I said, me and my husband never got a trial at all for this home. And like I said, we're in the federal court system right now, U.S. Supreme Court, with the jurisdictional question. If feds have the jurisdiction first, you can't take the claim to a lower court and use a forcible eviction tactic, because that is only for landlords getting possession of their home back from a tenant, and that's not what a foreclosure is or a mortgage is. If you've got 30 years of a mortgage, they can't come in if you're just behind a little bit and take. You got 30 years or whatever's left on the loan to cure it, and that's not what they did. They went behind the backs of the people. They go to the state of Oregon to the foreclosure avoidance program, and they send the homeowner a notice saying your lender wants to talk to you. Well, first, they're not our lender. They're a sub entity just to hold these loans, and they've split up the loans. So in trust law, you can't split up the note and the promise and the trust deed. You can't split those up, and that's what they do. And they split them up and then they sell them on the market. And so that's what this country's done. It's a foreign corporation operating on American soil, and they are intentionally, for big banks, helping them foreclose on all the people. And they're going to continue doing this, and especially when the moratorium is up. And even Sergeant Pemberton, I believe John Pemberton, he's the face of evictions, the lead sheriff, and on September 9th, he completely terrorized me in my home after he took my sons into custody. He made statements to me such as, I told him my husband was elder, and he said, he's not elder. We know how old he is. And he badgered me like that. He told me if I turned my phone on, that I only had 10 minutes to get out of my home. He made statements to the 9 officers that were standing around him with their guns, and he said to them in an arrogant voice, yeah, we're going to have a lot of this as soon as the moratorium is. My brother heard him make a statement as they're walking away from my home, and all the people were out here, and he made a statement saying, this is going to be better because somebody's going to come in and build something better here than what's here now. And so that's the kind of attitudes that we're up against. He also intimidated me if I came outside and talked to the crowd when I was moving all my things out. He threatened me again that I had to get out, that I would be out of my home, and that I would have to get out just because there was a crowd of people. And he was in there terrorizing me, saying, these folks aren't helping your cause. If they don't quit badgering us, you're out in 10 minutes. And he would just threaten me the whole time, following me through my home while I'm trying to gather a few of my things. And so I wanted to say how grateful I was for the people that came, and that they came and occupied this land to show that the people are going to stand together. And I hope that this continues for the next house, and the next house, and the next family that we try and do this thing to. So forgive me for getting sensitive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. I hope I got summed it up as much as I could in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Anything you can think
Yeah. Did you want to talk about Philo's arrest? Did you mention that?
Yeah. Well, they've still got my one son in custody, Philo. They took him in first. And I wanted to mention that he was put on the news when was
This
that?
was about mid-October, I think October 20th.
Mid-October, October 20th. My son went to get a burrito down at Azteca down there. They were following him, and they said they used the same old line that they've used to stop all my people, which is, you didn't make a full stop at the stop sign. The Portland police pulled him over, and then they turned his custody over to the Multnomah County Sheriff's immediately, so we don't even know whose police reports what. And then they used the media and put his name on the internet saying that there was 2 arrests tonight, and that they tried to equate that he was over at one of the commissioner's houses as a protester, and he wasn't there. And so they did that intentionally, and then charged him with interfering with an officer because he gave his professional name, which is Philo, and did not give his customer name to them, and that's the only reason they took him in. So now they're like basically trumping up charges on my son, and they're holding him now. They released one of my sons, but I don't know what's happened to my other son. And
Yeah.
I would like the support of the people to contact all of Multnomah County, Portland Police, the mayor, the governor, and everybody, and state that, you know, these are crimes.
Yeah.
Absolute crimes, because you can't just use a court system and use a forced mute system like the Portland Police and every other agency they called in on the people today, and you know, and basically terrorize. I think it's time it stops.
Yeah. Yeah. In his October arrest, he was identified by the sheriff who was at the eviction
That's correct.
as a member of the Kinney family.
Right, because when they took my son and put him in custody, there was a man across the street, and my son said, "You got a phone, start filming this." And the guy looked over there and said, "I know who you are, you're Kinney." And because he was one of the Multnomah County sheriffs that were here on September 9th, that was at the scene. So if that's not a setup, what is? You know, if he's going to give the, and that's why they said he interfered with a police officer, because he gave his name instead of the corporate name. So that's what happened there.
Yeah. Do you want to mention the fundraiser we're doing right now?
Yeah, we have been doing fundraising for, well, we have the first right to redemption when a foreclosure happens. And so we have that first right, and we're trying to raise the funds to satisfy whatever debt that they think is there for that urban housing development has acquired. But that should have happened first. But Oregon has obliviated trust law and property laws.
It's beyond law. This is just about capitalism. They want to take this home and build another sky rise, just like the one next to it, and one over here. And they already told us their plan was to build a big development with this property and our property in it. They try to buy us out for $500,000. I said no, I want half equity. We'll take a development as well. We're not going to sell out. And then they came and pushed default on my mother and father. But yeah, this is all about capitalism. This is just a grandstand against capitalism, capitalistic banks and developers and deep state.
And I would like the people to rally around. They're going to be trying to demolish this home over here. Of course, my home, once that's gone, because my house was built in 1896. They also have the notice over there. They're going to take these two houses down over here. And so this is not going to be a historic district anymore. And I'd like the people to write in, call in, say we do not want these houses demolished or tore down. Call all the neighborhood associations, tell them not to approve any more of these developments. And then if they do, they need to take down the signs that say historic Mississippi neighborhood, because it's not any longer. And so, but that's what I'd like the people to rally around and start doing it, as well as finding out the corrupt judges, because judges shouldn't even be making a decision when it comes to foreclosures or anything else, because they own stock in the New York Stock Exchange or some of the various other stock exchange. And MERS was purchased. MERS is Mortgage Electronic Registration System. That's why they don't have any documents for the homes to come and foreclose, because they put it on an electronic system. Well, MERS was purchased by ICE a year ago, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, Intercontinental Exchange, and that's big tech.
Big tech.
Yeah,
all over the world. Energy.
No, not immigration.
No, it's the other ICE. And they own the New York Stock Exchange as well as the Colorado Stock Exchange. So every attorney, every judge, everybody that owns any type of stock should not have touched this case, and they all own stock in half of the on the stock.
They also receive contributions of black money from the same banks and developers we're up against, and that's why we've had this type of collusion in our case. And
because we called them on it all through the case. I mean, they might think it's a long case, but we called them on every dirty tactic that they used, and it's all on record now.
Record. The truth is there. You can check out the case. Our federal district court case number is 3:18-CB-01930. That's William X. Nietzche et al. Versus Freedom Mortgage Corporation. Yeah, and that case has all the facts in there. Every single detail about the predatory lending and residential mortgage-backed securities fraud. Yes, this was supposed to be addressed and cleared up in 2008. Yeah, when Obama bailed out big banks, but we're still dealing with the same problem.
It's because we came as one of the people instead of big banks, and so that's why
We're hiring an attorney to sell out our interests. Those attorneys usually have the bank's interest, so that's why me and my mother took this case ourselves and fought it to the death.
Yeah. So we almost couldn't make it anymore.
Do you want to mention how much is owed on the house?
Yeah, the loan itself that I got in 2004 was for $126,000. I paid on that loan for 14 years. So I overpaid already just for my mortgage payments. They put it all to interest. And so by the time they came, it was about $97,000. So you see that they didn't even take it down that much. And so I had been fighting them for that full 14 years, as well as fighting for my son.
$97,000, and this is $1 million piece of real estate right here.
Yeah.
And the purported purchasers of our property purportedly paid $260,000, which is way below the fair market value of this property.
And I'd like to say, at the auction, we were there, and we told them there's a cloud in the title, and the end bid auction was $261,000, but they give Roman a $1,000 discount somehow of that $1,000. So
They got it for $260,000.
$260.
So there's just a lot of errors, in this particular case.
And that's the money we're trying to raise, is to satisfy whatever is going on there. But I definitely like the people to rally around and contact urban housing development and some of these other places, because this is dastardly what they're doing to the people.
Yeah.
So.
And this land that we're standing on, vacant lot, not owned by you, but we assume that if your house is demolished, they would build a development on the two lots. This lot that we're standing on is valued at $10.2 million on Zillow currently.
What? 10.2 million?
$10.2 million.
What?
You get nothing less.
That is robbery.
gold.
Yeah,
Literally
no.
Wow. I don't even know what to say about that one. Yeah.
They undervalue us at $260,000.
No.
Yeah, no. It's not fair.
And it's an historic home. I mean, it's almost as old as the John Palmer house at the end of the block.
1896. Yep, it's a historic property.
And we
It's a landmark.
tried to get it. We tried to get it on the historic registration. If everybody wanted to call the historic, they wouldn't do it. They told us they wouldn't. But if everybody could
said we
call,
didn't have enough African American history to be qualified on the registry. So
Yeah.
we gotta put pressure on
and say
on the
this is
historic-
history now. This movement is history, and if everybody could write in to do that, everybody go online, Bureau of Buildings, to stop the demolish of the rest of these homes. And and if this home goes, I'd like all the people to come and just be around it, and because it'll be a time of mourning if they tear this old house down.
It's still a fight. We're still executing our due process. We currently have a writ of certiorari, and that is where a high court reviews a lower court's judgment for errors. We just filed with the Supreme Court for the United States of America on November 23rd, 2020, and it's still pending. So we're still in it. We're still praying for higher relief. Hopefully, we'll find some judges up top that will make the right decision.
Yeah.
Hold their position in honor, because every judge we went in front of is now dishonored.
Nietzsche, got here late. Do you want to introduce yourself and say what happened this morning to your hand?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm William X. Nietzsche, Nietz, yelling from outside, and I seen lights flashing. So I got up scrambling, and I tried to run downstairs, but they were already running in with assault rifles on me. And then I tried to shut the door, and then my hand got slammed in there. But I went into custody. They held me in a cold holding tank for about 4 hours. I only had a shirt and some shorts on because I just woke up, and they purposely left me in the holding tank, with no blanket, no extra clothing, freezing. But yeah, we will survive. We endured, and yeah, I'm just trying to keep the spirit alive. Yeah.
Is your injury from this morning?
Yeah, they slammed my hand in the door. I need to go to the hospital and see if I got a fracture.
They injured him on September 9th as well, when they put him into custody and left him in the car for more than 2 hours.
They cut off
all of his circulation.
Got, nerve damage along my pinky from that first unlawful arrest. So we're still in it though. We're gonna keep fighting. Yeah.
So if everybody could call Multnomah County and tell them to free Philo. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Portland Historical Society as well.
Yes, I would like everybody to contact them.
And the U.S. Supreme Court justices. That's who we're in front of. That's who has jurisdiction right now of this particular case. So yeah.
How can the community donate to you?
You could go to redhouseonmississippi.com, and we have GoFundMe and Cash App and Venmo there. Again, that's redhouseonmississippi.com. Yeah, you can find all our GoFundMe and Venmo information on the website.
We have a $250,000 GoFundMe goal, and right now we're at $40,000.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, we developed a strategy to raise $250,000 to give, or as a strategy to buy back our homes, even though we shouldn't. But that's just as a safety mechanism to ensure that we hold on to the land.
To work within this awful system that they've set up.
Yeah, absolutely corrupt.
Well, yeah, I guess that's it.
Thank you.
Aren't you guys calling out some portions of the Oregon Constitution, right?
Yeah, we stood
Well,
on.
I've Fifth Amendment due process. That's in the Constitution for the United States of America. We were never given due process when we filed our federal lawsuit in November 5th, 2018. We served urban housing development, and in response to our federal lawsuit, they ran to the lower Multnomah County Court, eviction court, and that violated our due process, because when you choose, it's up to the plaintiff to choose what venue he wants to bring his claim in, and we chose federal court, and federal court is higher than our state courts. We operate in a federalism. Our system is a federal system, and if a plaintiff chooses federal court, he gets to pursue that remedy to the exclusion of all other courts. We had to ward off the Multnomah County eviction court during the same time as I was prosecuting our federal claim. So that's what we brought to the U.S. Supreme Court in hopes of them obeying the rule of law and respecting our due process, because no court should be able to interfere and act like they have jurisdiction when you're in the heart.
Were you originally facing criminal charges of some kind?
I got a trespass charge for this particular understand getting arrested out of the house today.
We don't know what she was on Philo's.
It's just a trespass. We all got trespass charges.
And then they got that other charge that they unlawfully stopped them the other October.
Did they inform you of where to go as they're trying to kick you out of your home?
No. I asked for a ride home because I didn't have no clothes. I had my shorts. I was still asleep. And they said, we can't provide that. So I got a ride from Grandpa. Shout out Grandpa.
Grandpa. Hell yeah, Grandpa.
But yeah, I feel better, man. I like seeing, this is what community is about. I mean, it's sad that we have to come together under these type of circumstances, but yeah, this is true community. When we stand in solidarity, we hold the power. They can't do nothing.
They left.
Yeah.
Are there any supplies that you could immediately use from the community at all?
They intentionally targeted our kitchen today. They ripped it with knives and cut the whole thing down. They threw all of the food and everything into one big pile, and that's what we went back and took all of it.
And then they destroyed the sink. They busted it out, and they busted the toilet inside, so we can't use.
So there was no clear intention in terms of what they wanted from us. They just came to fucking cause trouble.
They just did without notice, and
Still
even
during the moratorium and all that. So
There's no we need you to vacate.
Yeah, if the owners of this land that give them permission to be here, if they had come and said, remove the camp, we would have and cleaned it up like we just did and leave the land the way we found it.
Well, we have permission to be
But
here
we
from
did.
the owners. So everyone that got charged with a false trespass charge from this particular
They needed
piece
to
of
give
property,
notice.
that's not going to stand. They just probably did that to flex their power.
Because frankly, we were here more than 30 days, and if you're going into landlord-tenant law, then they needed to provide an eviction notice. And so that needed to be done before they even came into this side over here. And they're trying to just use an extension of the FED court eviction. And I'd like to point out, the FED eviction case file in our case is about this big. And that's not normal.
2,000 sheets, yeah.
So was the eviction originally not being pursued by the homeowner?
No,
Yeah.
not here. At our home, at our house, the purported buyer, which he's a malified buyer because he knew that
It
there's
was
a
at a
cloud.
foreclosure auction. Someone came. We showed up as well and said, I got the general warranty deed, so don't bid on this property.
Yeah,
And
when
that's
he-
the highest form of ownership. And I warn everyone, if you bid on this particular property, you're subject to federal antitrust law violations and a verified federal lawsuit.
and we have all that on
That's
film.
I got all that captured on film, so they can't get out of this. There's no way.
So yeah, contact Roman Azaruga, Urban Housing Development.
Tell Roman Azaruga it's over.
He's
Yep, it is over.
We do want to do a march to his house too. If he's going to march 100 officers to ours, we'll take our troop there.
Yeah,
Kitchen
yes.
supplies and food?
We're gonna get our kitchen probably, go back going.
Yeah, we want to get it back going and feed the people. And I think that's why they targeted it, because they really tried to put out here that we were, causing trouble here and scaring the neighbors and doing all kinds of negative activities here. That's what the news reporter said to me when I first got here. And I said, no, we've been here housing the people, keeping them warm. We got
Providing, providing for the people.
yeah, and all the food every day, and that's why I believe they targeted the kitchen first and the hardest like that. Yeah, and then everything else they just threw in the dumpster.
Yep.
It's just horrible, horrendous. So I want to thank all the people that came and showed up on September 9th, and especially today, showing up today. I'm grateful and honored that you guys came. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
appreciate it.
the Red House Kitchen is run by a group called Food for the Community, which is a Black-led mutual aid abolitionist group. You can support them on Instagram at Food for the Community. I think it's F4TC, the number 4, and also on Cash App at Cash App F4, the number 4TC.
Right, yep.
Thank you all so
Yeah,
much.
thank you guys.
We appreciate
it.
you.
Yeah.
Kinney family.
Thank you.
Yeah. So keep marching. Land back.
Land back.